Hi, this is an update to my last video on prepping, and I went back to the store. I got a few things. Now, a lot of this is extra food for midnight. They actually had some, not a lot. So I got some extra food. He does still have his emergency kit up there for his emergency kit. Right there. So you know that I'm not using the same stuff. I got him some more. Now I want you to see something here. I did purchase some more Tealight candles and some coffee filters. Now I already had these items, but I did purchase some extra food. They did have a couple cans of chili with beans. Now this is a lot less expensive than just a chili, excuse me. They had some cheddar cheese. My girlfriend likes mixing this with just regular chili, whether it's with or without beans, and then having nachos. So that's why I picked that up. This is not something you would want to necessarily have in your stockpile. The chili expires 2024. I've already checked. Now I did pick up some fruit. The reason I picked up fruit is a couple reasons. And oh crud, midnight wants in. Come on, stinker, and quit scratching the door frame. Alright, I'm sorry about that. Now, I picked up fruit. Fruit is very expensive compared to vegetables, alright? If you're in a survival situation, you need to get out of your mindset. And what I mean by that is a lot of times when people open fruit or vegetables, they'll eat the fruit, eat the vegetables, and dump the fluid. Yes, that's all yours. Get away from it, stinker. Fruit is very expensive compared to vegetables. But if you have children, alright, this is a key thing. The fluid in these cans may end up saving your life. You can go for weeks without food, but only days without some type of fluid or water. If you're buying fruit, make sure it's in water or juice. Do not buy it in syrup. And then if you're in a situation, you can give your children, literally, adults, listen to me, you drink the stuff out of the veggie cans. Alright, I know it's not the best tasting stuff in the world, but please, let your kids have the juice out of the fruit. Fruit's extremely expensive. Now, I did go today, and I spent $35.55. Now, of course, a lot of this is strictly on cat food. Alright? And something like this you won't need unless you really want it. You will need coffee filters or some way to filter water, and Tealight candles. Now the Tealight candles are now, for 100 Tealight candles, $4.97, and I believe 50 of them, a 50 pack, was around $3 and something. So I'm going to scan this real quick so you can tell the difference between the price of the vegetables and the price of the fruit. The pears, $1.76. The pineapple, $1.68. Peaches, now they were only $1. Let's see, fruit cocktail is $1.62. And of course the rest of this is basically food for midnight. Now I'm making this video for two reasons. One, I wanted to show you fruit is much more expensive than vegetables. And can you stockpile fruit? Absolutely. The expiration date on this, 2024. Of course, that is pineapple. Now, this has no sugar. This pears. They were almost completely out of fruit when I got there, believe it or not. Best that you buy. Now, this says 2022. Of course, it'll go way past 2022 for the pears over there. The sliced peaches, 2024. The fruit cocktail, 2023. Of course, that'll go past that. And of course, the chilies, 2024. Alright, now I want to talk to you about these. The reason I bought these is because if you get hit with a hurricane, as you can see, I have my stove hooked up here. Let's see if he wants to go out again. Alright, Midnight, go. Go on. Stinker, move your butts. Sorry about that. I have some really nasty, dirty water here. Now, I've already done this once, and unfortunately, adjusting this to fit this giant pot is really hard to do. So hopefully I got it adjusted. I have the rack out of our barbecue pit, the smallest rack that's in the bottom. Here's the big rack over here out of the barbecue pit. We've never used this barbecue pit. Now I'm going to filter this nasty ass water through this. Now I just put some slashes and cuts in the bottom with a regular knife, just a regular steak knife. I have it sitting on 2 butter knives, and let's get this stuff pouring. I'm sorry, I'm trying to hold this phone at the same time. Now you can filter this more than once. In fact, if you have a possible way to filter it more than once, I advise you to filter it through 1 or 2 coffee filters. At least probably 2 would be better, if not 3, to try to get as much sediment out. Now this is just to get the large particles out, and you can see how nasty the water is. This is literally dirt. I went and got off the ground, dirt and gravel, and I just dumped water in it and mixed it up real good. See how dark that is? If you get hit with a hurricane, you get hit with anything that is a natural disaster, something that can really hurt you, and you have no way to get water, or you don't have vegetables or fruit that you can get the fluid out of. There's a fly in the house. Oh well. This may save your life. Now understand, this will get out the bulk amount of the sediments, right? It can't filter everything. It's nothing more than a coffee filter, but it'll get out the bulk. Then you have to get that water boiling. Now I do have it set up here, the candles. Unfortunately, it's hard to get all these candles to stay lit under such a big pan. You can use a smaller pan, and I'm going to put in this large pan. Now remember, if you're trying to do this, if you can use a smaller pan and less candles and just make sure it starts to boil, put a lid on it, and so it keeps the heat in. And hopefully I can set that big pan down without putting the candles out, because this is going to be tough. Now the water's not going to be perfectly clear, of course. It's going through a coffee filter, right? This is just to get sediments out. This will not get rid of bacteria, viruses, anything else. This is just for sediments. Look at that. As you can see, I already ran the test once. I wanted to make sure it would work. And unfortunately, it's really hard to set the pan on there with one hand. So, and here's my old Tealight candles. Now, I do have like 20 candles there. You do not have to use 20 candles. They don't have to be that close together. It just has to be at the right height. Now, I do have clothespins here. So I'm just using clothespins to keep it up high enough to where hopefully it doesn't kill the candles. As you can see, they're adjusted differently all the way around, because I have said numerous times, our stove is crooked. The burners on our stove do not set flush, and so it's really hard to get something to set flat. Now, here's the water so far, and I absolutely, absolutely could run this through another time. But I'm not going to. I just want to get that water on there. And you can see the pan is crooked. It's really hard to get this level on this stove. And if you go too far down, And here's the other rack out of our barbecue pit out there. If you go too far down with it, it will kill your candles. You can always find something to put up underneath that you can adjust to get that perfect height. It looks like all of them, if not most of them, are still going. I see three that are out. So we still have, out of 20 candles, 17 are still working. I don't know if it's I put them out when I set the pan down or what. Now the more water you have in here, the longer it's going to take. Like I said, you can cook with candles too. If you need to, watch that video, because basically you're going to do it the same way I'm doing this. I should actually use my oven rack because I can adjust it easier than this. But I wanted to try this one. And I should have just used my oven rack because it's so much easier to adjust with the clothespins, because it's much bigger. Now you can still use this the same way as I did the oven rack. It's just going to be a whole lot tougher to use that way. You can see the top. You can see the steam in there. Now, I'm making this because if you get hit with a hurricane, I understand there's a hurricane hitting the south. And hopefully somebody sees this before they get hit. Canned vegetables, if your water goes out, canned vegetables, save the fluid, drink the fluid. It may be nasty, but it can keep you alive. Canned fruits the same way. If you have to, get water. See, there's a little bit of dirt left in here. I could actually, once this is done boiling, if I wanted to, I could let it cool a little bit and then filter it again and get anything extra out. But it's still drinkable. Look at that. Now, I did put the lid on it. I want to keep as much heat as possible on the inside. Now, this is 20 candles. So that's almost 2,000 BTUs of heat. I could have used a frying pan. Any pan that'll fit, your candles will fit under it, will work this way, especially if you put a lid on it. Now, I only had probably a cup and a half of water in here. Maybe a little bit more, I'm not sure. But if you have to, you know, hell, take your pan outside. If you have a way, you're not in an apartment building or something like that. If you have a way to take your pan outside and filter your water and throw it over an open fire where it'll boil quicker, then do it. You won't be wasting your candles and you won't be heating up your house. Because this is almost 2,000 BTUs of heat. Of course, with 3 candles out, it's around 1,700 BTUs. And you can see the water. Hopefully. Like I said, I did not have a lot of water in here. But if you are in an apartment or a place you can't start a fire to boil your water, and this is what you're stuck with, then try your best to adjust your legs or adjust your pan to where it's just high enough to where your candles don't go out. That way more heat will stay under the pan. See, there's a couple bubbles there. Okay, I see a few bubbles starting up. And like I said, this is probably a cup and a half of water. Um, the longer you leave it on there, the longer it burns, the more it's actually going to kill anything in that water. So if you have to use water like this, filter it. Even if you have to filter it through a clean t-shirt, filter it, boil it. Now, I'm not going to leave this going all day because, well, I'm not going to leave this camera going all day because it can't run all day, even on the battery pack I have it hooked up to. When you're preparing, think about other things, not just canned goods. Of course, if you have a pet food, coffee filters are always good to filter water. And then in an emergency situation, you can cook with these. You can boil water with these. It just might take a little bit. And you can see the steam. And like I said, the more candles, the more heat. The smaller the pan, the easier it is to keep your candles lit. But it takes longer to boil water because you can't get as much in there. Could I cook right now with something like this? Absolutely. Hopefully, this helps somebody out. Now, you saw how nasty the water was. And you can see that's just really gross. I literally walked outside, scooped up a bunch of dirt and sand, and mixed water up with it for this. Hopefully your water's not this nasty. And like I said, you can always run it through a filter again once it's done and get out any extra stuff. That is just dirt that passed through the filter. If I ran it through again, it would actually catch more of that dirt. Can you see the little bubble starting at the bottom there? I hope you can. I can't tell because there's a reflection here. There's a little bitty bubble starting. And you can tell how hot that is. It's literally steaming. Alright, that's it. I'm fixing to go. This is another prep video. Hopefully this gets to somebody that needs it right now, especially with a hurricane barreling down on some states. If you can get to the store, fruits and vegetables have liquid. Think about that. Now you can get things, of course, like chili and whatever else. But if your water goes out, and if you can't find water, if your stores are sold out, and if you're not sure what you're going to do for water, filter that water, boil it, even if you have to use candles, or you use some type of fire outside. You see, we have a barbecue pit, a cheap Walmart barbecue pit that I can actually light a fire in and set the pan on the barbecue pit and boil water. But if you don't have a barbecue pit like this, you can't do that. I mean, you can always take some type of pan and put sticks in it or some type of large can and build a fire and put the pot over the top and boil water. That's great. That's fine if you have access to those things. But if you don't, then you do what you gotta do. Alright, I'm fixing to go. Remember, a lighter also, yeah, whether it's one of these or just a regular lighter. Candles, coffee filters, or some type of clean cloth, preferably white, to get rid of any large sediments or any sediments. Canned fruits, canned vegetables, and of course if you have a pet, think about them too, and think about how long you can be without power, water. Think about how long your lights may be out, the stores may be closed, how long your roads are closed before you can get back to a store, and how long it could take them to get stuff back in that store, especially now. Alright, that's it. I'm fixing to go. This is like 24 minutes long. I actually had another video I was going to upload today. I guess I'll just do this now. On this video, the stuff came in from my girlfriend's bow. So I did get the stuff. There's that doohickey. There's the bow sight. So it did come in. I actually made a different video for this, but you know what? I already got this camera going, so her stuff did come in, and her bow and arrows, and my bow and arrows would come in real handy if we were in a situation like we got hit with a hurricane, tornado, something like that, where we had to go find our own food. So that's something else to think about. A way to hunt, way to fish. I did find some cheap fishing rod and reel sets off eBay for like 12 bucks. They're like little pin fishing things. They're pretty much junk, but in an emergency situation, they should work. So I may order one of those. Once again, prepping is preparing for the future, preparing for the worst, and if you have to go without water, juice out of these cans, the water out of these cans, the water out of your vegetables, anything with a liquid you can drink, preferably not syrup. Now, you don't want that. But anything with a liquid you can drink can help keep you alive. If you have to get water out of something that's really gross, like a mud puddle, then this will actually help you clean that water, purify it. And if you have to cook, of course you can do it. Like I said, I should have just used my oven rack, but not everybody has an oven, so I used one of the racks out of my barbecue pit. I don't know if you can see the bubbles in there or not. So this is starting to boil. Maybe you can see them through the lid. So yes, it is starting to boil. Give it time. If your candles go out, one or two of your candles go out, just relight them. You know, that's up to you. If you have bigger candles or dirtier candles than these Tealight candles, you know now how to actually cook with them. Anyway, that's it. I'm fixing to go. Once again, this haul was more or less for midnight. That's what I went to the store for yesterday. They had no food. And even today, they did not have much. So, you know, the way they're not getting their trucks in, you know, I had to get him some. I didn't have a choice. But I did want to get some fruit and talk about this, along with the vegetables. Get out of your mindset. When you eat your fruits or vegetables, if you're in a situation, remember, the liquid in this can may be able to keep you alive. It's not a lot of liquid, that's true. But there's liquid in fruits. There's liquid in vegetables. Then there's, hear all that? I hope you can hear it. So there's probably half a can of fluid in here once you take the fruit out. And of course coffee filters, some type of candles, or some type of oil lamp. Preferably have some candles like this. A lighter, matches. Anyway, that's it. I'm fixing to go. I'm going to run over here real quick and just show you one more time. There's a fly right there. See the bubbles? I don't know if you can see the bubbles through the steam. But anyway, that's it. If you're going to use something like this, I suggest you do it the way I made the candle stove, because the legs are so much easier to adjust while using the oven rack than something, you know, this small like this. And that's the water right there. That's filtered. And of course you saw what it looked like. So that would be drinkable. Anyway, that's it. I'm fixing to go, and I have to, I'm sorry, I keep saying that's it, I'm going to go, and that I don't go on a lot of my videos. Sorry about that. But I am fixing to go. Like $5 for the candles. A couple bucks right there. And then the rest, of course, I think I told you the prices of everything, except for the cat food. If you have an animal, you know how much that is. Alright, that's it. I'm fixing to go. Everyone have a good day. Bye.